Hey, what's going on guys? Mgzuba here. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at an AZORIUS party deck for standard best of one. So this is kind of like a tempo-y deck. It wants to kill our opponents, but it also has the tools to grind with control, the give or take. And it's kind of centered around this party sub-theme, which isn't the main focus of the deck, but certainly helps us get there. So we'll get into the list. We start with 4 Archpriest of Iona. This card's power gets, well, higher and higher and higher, equivalent to the amount of party members we have. So alone it's a 1 mana 1/2, but once we start building up our party, it quickly grows in strength, so it just helps us get there. And if ever we assemble the full party, which pretty much is never going to happen, we can boost a creature and give it flying, so not a bad 1-drop for the deck. Our other creature we have is the Merfolk Windrobber. So you guys know this card from Rogues. We don't have any mill, right, like aspects to the deck, but a 1 mana 1/1 flyer isn't bad, and it has the ability later on in the game to basically just cycle itself, as well as having the rogue party type. So while it's not as good as it is in Rogues, I still think it has earned a spot in the deck. So now for the 1 mana interaction, we have Concerted Defense. This is sort of like a Spell Pierce, but not as good. It starts off baseline worse by the opponent only needing to pay 1, but it can scale, making it a more powerful Spell Pierce, depending how many party members you have. So we're trying out 2 to help us with the tempo-y game plan. Some Luminarch Aspirants. It has the Cleric party type. It's a nice aggressive 2-drop, can boost up any creature we have. Seasoned Hollowblade has the Warrior subtype for party. Actually, I think it's our only Warrior. No, we have a Legion Angel as well. But yeah, it provides us with the Warrior subtype, and it's a very sticky threat alongside the Aspirant. We have sort of like a white aggressive core here. The Fae of Wishes is one of the cards that lets us tangle with control decks. For 4 mana, we have access to a pretty wide sideboard. It also is a 2 mana 1/4, which is a good blocker if you have to be on the defensive, and has the Wizard party type, which is pretty useful. So since we're here, we'll take a look at the wish board. Tormod's Crypt to get rid of any pesky escape cards, Cling to Dusts. If you ever need to wipe your own graveyard against Rogues, I mentioned that interaction before, that type of thing. Tormod's Crypt's pretty good. Light of Hope, blow up an enchantment. I mean, the +1/+1 counter is more relevant than in this deck than in control decks, but you're probably never fetching it for that, or just emergency life gain. Unsummon, stay alive. You can also protect your own creature. Shadow Spear, if ever you need big lifelink, and helps deal with a Dream Trawler, kind of. It makes it lose hexproof, so you can get a bunch of cards, but yeah, Shadow Spear is not bad. Glass Casket, fetchable removal. Negate, if ever you want to hold it up, or your opponent like has an ultimatum coming that you know about or suspect. Boss Recat as a sticky planeswalker we can grab. We are kind of aggressive, right? And sometimes to help outgrind the control matchups, you need planeswalker presence, and Basri's there for that. Midnight Clock, reshuffle your deck against Rogues. Sorry, Mystical Dispute, cheap 1 mana interaction. Again, you could fetch it, try to counter a Genesis ultimatum on the way there. The 3 Legion Angels, which is the 1 Nombo with the Fae of Wishes. I figure that some games are not going to come down to the wish board, and I think having the 3 Legion Angels is definitely worth it, despite there being a tension in our sideboard in best fun, hilariously. We have 2 ways of exploiting it. So Fae of Wishes, instead of being a 15-card sideboard, is a 12-card sideboard, but I do think it's worth it. ECD, kill a thing, a pesky permanent that we might have trouble dealing with in a Azorius sort of tempo, and reanimate a creature. We're pretty much always going to have a target. Heliod's Intervention, blow up enchantments and artifacts, emergency life gain, but probably not fetching it for that, and Crawling Barrens to hit our land drop if it is really coming down to that, and an evasive land that can close out the game. If you want a anti-Crawling Barrens card, you can always put in Field of Ruin, but I think that being aggressive is more important than defending against other endgame control decks. So for 3-drops, we have Skyclave Apparition. It's, I think, the only creature in the deck, yeah, without party subtypes. We're in Azorius, we need more interaction, and I've noticed that Skyclave Apparition is a pretty key 3-drop in mono-white aggro, or at least the way I play it, and I'm trying out 2 in the deck. If it had a party subtype, easy 4 of, but just 2 for now. Of one mind, a lot of these cheaper party creatures are humans. Some of them are non-humans up to here, right? And as we go higher, so of one mind is just ideally 1 mana draw 2, taking some inspiration from the rogues deck. But yeah, hopefully can get us some decent turns where we get a bunch of card advantage and get to push through damage. Brazen Borrower, Interaction, or a 3/1 flyer on the other half can help us get there. Also a rogue party type. Limvala, Azorius party payoff. We can make something indestructible. 3/3 flyer for 3 is fine. If ever we have a full party, we can choose a non-land permanent our opponent controls, and it can't attack or block. Also, its abilities can't be activated. We're pretty much never going to have a full party, so essentially this is a 3 card. You can make something hexproof or indestructible, and it's also a threat, so not bad. Legion Angel, recurring threat and best of 1, can gather much more angels, can help you get there, or many more angels, sorry. Yeah, it can just basically help you get there against control decks, can help break board stalls against other aggro decks, like mono white especially. And we'll put this in the land base. Another thing that we take from rogues, Spoils of Adventure, right? So ideally we're never casting this for 6, we're hopefully casting it for 4 or less, right? And it's we'll say 6 mana, but scaling down, draw 3, gain 3 life at instant speed. So this is sort of our into the story, but it's more jank. But I do like the life gain attached to it, gives it more of an Azorius feel, and a nice reload to help us get back into any game we might be losing. Mana base, we have to play the Temple because we do have a pretty heavy mana base. Like this requires double white and this requires double blue, although you don't necessarily need them all the time on turn 3. It's good to have. So even though we have 1-drops, this is important for mana fixing. Fabled Passage, fix your mana. 7 Islands and Vantress, you can scry away to goodies. 4 Plains for Amiria's Call. We are more white slanted, right? I mean, Amiria's Call also inflates that with the white mana symbols it puts here, but yeah, we're a little bit more white slanted regardless of the Amiria's Call, and I don't think we're super punished for running this. We are an aggro deck. I think the Amiria's Call is one of the better bolt lands, especially for this style of deck. And the 1 castle, if you have nothing else to do, you can make a 1/1. We're not very punished. We do have some ways it enters untapped, but this can also just be another plains. So yeah, guys, that's the list. Kind of janky. We are in Mythic today. I don't expect to climb super high with it, but yeah, it will be in the description down below as always. If you're enjoying the pretty consistent uploads, I'd appreciate it if you guys subscribe to the channel. It really motivates me to make more content, and leave a like if you are enjoying the decks. Let's get into some games. Oh boy. All right, so double Fae. Can it get us there? We have sort of a counterspell. All right, let's hide that. Don't need that up right away. Aspirant's fine. We'll see if we need to be offensive or defensive. Fervent Champion. This is what I mean when I said Aspirant's fine. I mean, I'm used to just facing raw aggro, and Aspirant can help us get there. That's also why I keep the double Fae against aggro. It's just a really good blocker. Mono red can't really get through a 1/4. Ooh, and is it? Okay. So no blocks. Playing around like Scorching Dragonfire. Or what's the other one called? Fire Prophecy. Stomp my face. Alright. That's fine. Can play Aspirant and Windrobber. Or I can play Aspirant, Hold Open, Considered Defense. I don't think that's very good though. I think we just beef this card up. No attacks. And pass it back. Because this still dies to Bone Crusher Giant, I don't want to give it the counter. And this can pretty much always stop. Oh, this actually dies to Soulseer, which is hilarious. But yeah, Dragonfire. So we did play around that correctly, by the way. But now it's a lot harder for them to ambush me with a 1/1 first striker than it would be with a 1/4. All right, let's just get some damage in with Wind Robber. Mill you for 1, and it's the Phoenix of Ash. Very good. We're not going to be milling them much, but we will be. All right, let's wish. Now, what do we want? Bossry isn't bad. Can help force an emblem. Elspeth conquers death, comes down and takes the biggest thing. Negate. Shadow Spear isn't bad either. Just give this Fae lifelink and start getting in there. Maybe it is just the boss recat, but then cleave is a thing. So maybe it is just negate, but then they play other creatures and it's a whole thing. I can also just crypt and take out the Phoenix. Yeah, so Fae is always interesting. There's plenty of decisions to be made. I think we do just grab the ECD. And if they don't play anything with CMC 4 or a 3 or higher, I said 4 because I'm looking at the Phoenix. But yeah, if they don't play anything with CMC 3, then we can always just cast the other side of the Fae and hold open Concerted Defense. Royal Scions. All right, so this is a weird, is it aggro deck? Using Fervent Champion as a 1-drop, which I can get behind. Alright, so we don't take that block because there's this glorious card called Shock. Or Rimrock Knight. Regardless, I still definitely don't think jeez, my words block there. I'm sorry, guys. I've been in uni for 4 hours from like 4 to 8 p.m. I'm exhausted. Still trying to push out a video, though. So, we can go for Aspirant and Fae. And then save ECD for, like, the Phoenix. That pushes how much damage through? 3-4? That's not horrible. I actually kind of like that. And if they have another instant or sorcery, we are holding up Considered Defense. Let's go for it. Play the Aspirant. Target the Fae. 3-6 Fae. Easy. Don't want to target the Wind Robber because I might just sacrifice it at some point. And play out the other Fae. Alright, so no party synergy whatsoever, but our sort of weird Azorius tempo deck is doing stuff. And any spell they cast, we can probably consider defense because they have to pay 4. Alright, and they cantrip with Royal Scions, getting our Wind Robber closer to sacrificing for the draw. I mean, aside from party type and the flyer, it's the other reason it's there, so not bad. Relic Robber, okay. Riddle form? No. Look at that. Concerted Defense coming in clutch. Alright, opponent just plays out a Rimrock Knight. And passes the turn. Okay. So. Let's play out Castle. Make Fae even bigger. Ooh, not this. And just kill the Scions. No ECD yet because it's holding them off playing their other creatures. And we have stuff to do with our mana in the form of Castle Ardenvale. And while it's not super fancy, it's still something. Also, if they attack with both and cleave us, we have the answer right here. Okay. Does target the Rimrock Knight. I mean, sure, pass to blockers. Can I even block like this? It's so bad, right? Like, I think I just take more damage and force them to throw away the Fervent Champion. Yeah, there's the cleave. So I'm dead to like Shock or I'm dead to another Rimrock Knight. Kind of calling them on a bluff of not having it, and they do have it, but also in a way playing around it. All right, so we're also dead to Bone Crusher Giant, so maybe I should have made a 1/1 and just blocked with it to not have that worry. Let's play ECD. Yup. Play out the Archpriest. Alright. Now, what's the plan? I can make the Archpriest bigger. I mean, I have to win at some point, but I don't think I want to attack with these. I think I'm pretty happy to buff up the Aspirant and get in 2 points of damage and hold everything else back as blockers. Right now, ECD will reanimate a Windrobber, and it's still a pretty hefty task to get through the booties of these Fays. Alright, Bone Crusher Giant, Phoenix of Ash, Hollow Blade. It's like fine. Is this my final party type? Cleric, Wizard. Nope, we still need Rogue. I mean, we're about to have a full party, boys. So how do I want to play this? I think I just pump the Archpriest. Try to get in there with it. If they want to trade it for a Bone Crusher Giant, I'm happy. Rimrock Knight can't block. And I can hold the Hollow Blade. Or I can just make a 1/1 at instant speed. I think we just play out the Hollow Blade. Just more stats on the board. So we're dead to another Bone Crusher Giant. That's because I blocked like an idiot. I think we're dead to another Cleave, depending how the opponent plays it. Alright, pre-combat Pump Phoenix. Well, at least they saved me the hassle of contemplating whether or not they're going to block with it. They're going to have Cleave. So we're definitely blocking. I guess we just block with this one. Right? Fade down. Fabled Passage. How many cards in the yard? 7. So we're pretty close to being able to cantrip our own Windrobber. Plus it fills out our party. And puts a 2/2 body on the board. I'm definitely holding this Fabled Passage because I can discard to the Hollow Blade or eventually wish will get my Fae back to my hand. So yeah, next to combat, this will trigger, give it flying, and we'll give it a counter. So opponent is on a 2-turn clock. Not a bad turning of the tables. So they have 1 card in hand and 1 draw step to hit Cleave or Bone Crusher Giant, I think. And they might have drawn a land, but they might not have. Alright, what you got? They can bring back 1 Phoenix. Yup. And that means that Cleave is still technically online. So what is this? Mono red Splash for Riddle Form? Or, no, sorry, Splash for Riddle Form and the Royal Scions. And the opponent doesn't draw the Cleave or the Bone Crusher Giant, and we managed to get there. So, okay. The one thing I do recommend not, like, I do regret not doing, sorry, is that one turn where the opponent did cleave up the Rimrock Knight. What I should have done is make another 1/1 with the castle and blocked it with 1 more body, so I would have taken 1 less point of block damage, so I'm not just dead to a top deck Bone Crusher Giant. But yeah, the odds of that happening aren't great, but they're not horrible either. So we managed to get there playing a sort of janky, kind of mid-range, kind of tempo-y game, and yeah, on to the next one, guys. Okay, not a bad hand. Our blue source is tapped, but it is technically a 3-lander. So I think we start out tapped. Spoils. Oh man. I don't know if it's gonna be good in this matchup, and it is slow because it's 6 mana. So let's bottom it for now. We do have 3 party types, so that could have been a mistake, but for now I think we just put it to the bottom. And we have another one, so not punished at all. Play out our 1 mana 2/2 and our 1 mana 1/1 flyer, so decent rates all around. That's why we play the Temple first, because it lets us double spell on turn 2, whereas putting Archpriest down on turn 1, while it gets in more damage, doesn't let us get more board presence. Okay, so Seasoned Hollowblade is pretty good, but I think we just play as mana efficiently as possible, get the Linvala down, and start getting in there. We draw the Warrior, by the way, for our party. So if I draw a land right now, then we do have 2 mana Spoils of Adventure, and that is also assuming that everything here survives. Linvala makes their strategy pretty awkward as well. So no land, but I think that's fine. Let's just get in damage. I know I can play the Hollowblade pre-combat, but instant speed spoils seems pretty nice. And if they're going to target now, then I can spoils in response, draw 3. And we can just give everything... I mean, it doesn't really matter. We'll just give everything indestructible. And we can play this tapped. Looking for another blue source, but at least we have some interaction. Considered Defense, Brazen Borrower, both pretty good to hold up, as well as Hollowblade being a pretty sticky answer, or pretty sticky threat, pardon me. Mazemind Tome. Okay, so there's our double blue. Mazemind Tome's really slow here, but ooh, okay. I'm thinking about Extinction Event. I could play double Hollowblade and hold up Concerted Defense to sort of play around an Extinction Event, but we just Concerted Defense the Extinction Event anyways, right? So, I mean, let's crack this right away, because we know that's what we're going to do. Now, we're not going to attack right away because I want to know if I'm going to play any other creatures with party types. So if I'm playing Hollowblade and Apparition, or if I'm just playing double Hollowblade, hold up Concerted Defense, or if I'm like holding up Brazen Borrower Bounce, which I actually don't think I'm doing. I think the play is double Hollowblade Concerted Defense because it pushes through the most damage, and it would just sort of let the opponent have their scries. And we play this one pre-combat. Essence Scatter. Okay, so I can stop that right now. Cards Engraved 3. Ooh. Alright. Let's play risky. Let's hope they don't have an Extinction Event, and we just hold up Brazen Borrower Bounce for this Tome worst case scenario. And if they do have an Extinction Event for odd, we still get to keep the Hollowblade. Alright, so took a weird line, but I kinda like it. We are definitely the aggressive deck in this match. And we do hit a Cling, which isn't great. Alright. Opponent's scrying. We could have prevented anything based on the apparition, but the opponent did have a Essence Scatter anyways. So let's just go for the Petty Theft. If they want to counter it, they can counter it. It also kind of helps them deal with the creature side. All right, and they scry, they don't draw. So they might be planning on using all their mana. Okay. Another Archpriest, not bad. So this is 3, 6, 7. I can flash this in to get them to 2. To get them to 1. Buffing up the Archpriest. I think we just attack with all here. The opponent might have interaction, but any removal spell that they throw at the Hollow Blade right now still gets the damage in. That's fine. They can drown my Archpriest, no problem. Damage goes through. Can play another Hollow Blade, but then Extinction Event looks really good. And if they play Extinction Event and then I just flash this in, it's not lethal. So I think I go for another Archpriest and then hold up Borrower. Ooh, is the opponent going to counter this? Opponent does. Okay. So this is... I can sacrifice the Wind Robber at instant speed to draw a card. I think I just pass and we flash in Brazen Borrower at end step. Just try to play around the most that we can. Another Spoils of Adventure would be really good. Help us reload. I mean, ideally before my creatures get clipped, which, you know, we're facing Dimir control. They're almost bound to. All right, 2 mana for Tome. That's really good. And tapped Jwari Ruins. Okay, so they have 3 mana. Let's play out the Borrower. Opponent can counter it. Didn't say please. All right, let's see what they mill. Most of that's fine, albeit maybe a little bit annoying. Ooh, Hexproof or Indestructible. Or take out the Tome. Alright, first things first, we attack. Get the opponent down to 1. They get a Scry, but if they burn their Scry right now, then we just mill them with the Wind Robber. Alright, opponent 1. So anything we do is lethal, and there was an event. Okay. I think I just... Oh man, it's tough. I think we're definitely playing up this. And now, the question is, Apparition, give them 1 Scry, or Limvala. If they do hit the Extinction Event, they're still dead, so I think I just go for Limvala. I don't know what they could hit that keeps them alive. And this stops any targeted removal on my entire squad. And that's game. Whew. Tough game against Dimir control, but we definitely get there. Pacing our threats, playing a sort of smart tempo-y game. Considered defense, puts in work. Spoils, gets us some card advantage. Awesome game, guys. Really glad the deck worked out exactly as intended. Okay, so, I mean, we have the white source on 1. Let's go. The mana to cast the Borrower. So let's see if we can draw any cheap, aggressive party payoffs. I mean, actually, no, the Archpriest is the party payoff. Let's see if we can draw, like, a warrior or cleric on 2. Alright, rogues. Very good. Get in there. Care to block? I didn't think so, surprisingly. We'll play out second Archpriest. And we'll play the blue source. If I play this, then I won't be able to cast Borrower on the 3 if I want to, although I don't think I really want to. Passage, Fine Mill. My own Wind Robber. Well, that's interesting. That beefs up all my creatures, so they can drown this. they don't. So yeah, big stat buff to the Archpriests. They drown my Archpriest. Okay. That's fine. Not a big deal. Get in there for 2, and we just hold up Borrower. No attacks. Sure. I'll play out my land. I might need to emergency cast spoils. Let's go. I'll put a stop on their upkeep because I might just cast it. Then take their whole turn countering it. Wait, can they even counter this? No, they need 6 cards in the grave. Alright. I'll trade my Wind Robber relatively happily. Ooh, but that means I can't cast my spoils. I probably should have cast it in response, but it's okay. They're not doing a great job of milling me, so I hopefully won't get too punished. And there's a Scavenger. Nice. So we know what type of rogue gamer they are. The Zareth San type. Of one mind. Human, non-human. Nice. Draw 2. I mean, let's attack. So do I just play this and then pay the 3? If ever? Or do I just play this tapped? I think I play this tapped. I think we're gonna need double white at some point, right? And next turn might be it. And I might just have to pay the life for it, so might as well do it now. Alright, Scavenger is a setback. Legion Angel is not, though. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Alright, let's start with the Hollow Blade. Giving us a 3-mana Spoils of Adventure, by the way. And buffing my Archpriest up to a 3/3. So, I gotta remember to, after blockers are declared, play the spoil. The opponent's been really defensive with their blocks, which is why I attack in with the Brazen Borrower now. Instead of, like, they can race this, but they probably just don't want to. And in response, we gain the life and draw some cards. How do you like that? Bootleg into the story. How do you like them apples? I'll piss off, I'm sorry guys. Alright, we play the Wind Robber. Opponent's on 4 cards in yards. They can't, like, we can't cycle it yet, but we're getting there. And we have 7, so they have their into the story. But the difference is, we cast ours for 3 mana. We get 1 less card, but we get some life. But we also have a board presence. Alright, Nightbounder comes down. Not even bothering to hold up counter magic. If I could stop drawing a land for a minute, that'd be good. We're drawing a bit too much for my liking. But let's attack. Let's see if the opponent wants to block the Hollow Blade or not. And I'll gladly throw away an island for my Hollow Blade. Mill them again. 7 cards. So we'll Passage. Passage isn't ideal because it does fill the grave for them. But wait, we need our mana. Another Spoils was on top too. Okay, so Legion Angel. Fetch other Legion Angel. And just play out our Archpriest. 1 mana 3/2. And that's it for the opponent. Does it beat rogues? Apparently our janky version. Using a lot less rogues and white instead of black gets the job done. Alright guys, and we are back. So today's games kind of went exactly how I intended, right? Like the whole deck was a kind of aggro-y tempo shell with a couple cheap party payoffs that eventually were going to help us get there, and I'm pretty sure that's exactly what happened, right? Like the Archpriest really overperformed, being a consistent 1 mana 2/2, and a lot of the time a 1 mana 3/2, which is a really good rate. And Spoils was cast for 3 mana a lot of the time, so helping us get there really consistently. Of One Mind, when I did cast it, was 1 mana, felt great. Yeah, Considered Defense, I cut one game because it was just depressing to watch all my creatures get taken by exile removal and the opponent having exactly 1 mana to pay each time for Considered Defense. So, I mean, this card did come in pretty clutch, but underperformed a little bit. All in all, I do really like the deck. I would not cut the Legion Angels. I think they are definitely worth the 3 spots in the sideboard. But if you don't think so, you can always just drop the 1 in the main deck, put in like another Skyclave Apparition or another Of One Mind or another Fave Wishes, since you've deemed the wish board more important than the 4/3 flyer that replaces itself. To each their own, honestly. Like, I can get behind that, but I don't think it's correct in this deck. And yeah, like, every time there's a wish board, it's obviously, you can, like, it's pretty obvious that you can edit it to your own taste. So that's the list, guys. That's it for today. It will be in the description down below, just a reminder, and hopefully I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.